Hi there everyone, just another lesson on adding numbers. Alright, so we're going to go through whole numbers first of all, and then we'll look at some of the different types of numbers, but essentially adding numbers. And I'm sure this is something that you are more than confident with doing, but ultimately it's obviously making sure that I don't miss anything and you don't miss anything. So when adding two numbers, you've got to put the numbers in basically in a column essentially, and then you obviously try to make sure you line up your ones, tens, hundreds as much as you possibly can. So 285 plus 47. So let's line them up. So you're 285 and 47, and then from there you're going to add up the ones first. All right, so the ones column. So you can add up these two, which is going to give you 12. All right, so 12. So the one which is left is the 2. So the 2 needs to go into this one, and of course you're going to carry over the 1 because you've got a 10. So that's going to go into your tens column. You're then going to add the tens. So you've got 8, 4, and this 1, which is going to give you 13. So the 3 goes in here. All right, so 3 goes in there, and of course you're carrying 1 over, but it's 13. And then you add the 2 and the 1, which will give you the 3, and it's going to give you 332. All right, so don't forget to carry those numbers. Sometimes they're missed, and please make sure you space it out nicely so you don't kind of make mistakes as you carry them across, okay? So adding decimals is no different, but of course sometimes you might need some zeros in there. So if you need some zero in there, then of course you need to make sure you need to put them in there. So you've got to calculate 6.32 plus 5.8. So like before, we're going to try and line them up. So what you've got is 6.32 and then 5.80. I suppose you probably should put a 0 in there so that you can see it and they're lined up nicely. And then like before, we're still going to add the columns. So we're going to start with 2, add 0, which is going to be 2. All right, so that's nice. 3, add 8, which is going to be 11. All right, so 1 goes there and you carry the 1. And then you've got 6 and add 5, which is 11, plus the 1, which is going to give you 12, which is going to go into the next column, and then you're going to add that there. And of course, if you've lined them up nicely, the decimal point is going to stay exactly where it was, and it's going to reappear in there. Okay, and that's you done. So, adding more than 2 numbers, well, it's no different. It's just a case of you're going to have a bigger column with more numbers in there. All right, so 73, 6797, and 966. So this is really making sure that you're testing and showing them, whoever it is that's testing you, that you can do it no matter how complicated it gets. So line them all up. So 73, 76. So we need to be really kind of carefully, because obviously the bigger this gets, the more awkward it becomes. So let's add them up very carefully. So you've got 7. Well, it says fill the gaps with 0, but don't really need those. But I can put them in anyway. It makes you feel a bit easier. All right, I normally do it when it's after the decimal point as opposed to before, but I guess that's okay. Right, so 7 plus 3 plus 6 is 16. All right, so I've got 6 and then carry the 1. Then I've got 10, 16, 23. So I've got 3 down here and 2 carry the 2. I've got 11, 18. So 8 down here and carry the 1. And then I've got 1 and 6, which is 7, which gives you 7, 8, 3, 6. All right, so that's it done. All right, so that is adding numbers. All right, so it is a technique, it is a column addition kind of method. There are other ways out there. There are lots and lots of different kind of things out there to kind of support you. And I show in primary school there were talks about number boards and basically number lines and all those kind of different things. But obviously from a GCSE perspective, I think by this point they would expect you to be using this method. All right. By all means, please go onto maths-school.co.uk. Link is at the bottom of the page. Get some practice. Obviously, practice the technique on pen and paper and see if you can still do it. All right, thanks for listening.